So it's a beautiful day outside, and you probably wouldn't believe it, but we're in quarantine. We're allowed to go outside a little bit, and we decided that it might be a good idea to kind of tell you a story of what it was like to experience quarantine. So I just wanted to spend some time, and Jackie and I wanted to share our experience as we experience this whole quarantine thing, because it's quite a thing to experience quarantine. Because at the end of the day, it's kind of something. Everybody's been talking about it. People have been saying that it's terrible. And people have been explaining that it's quite an experience. So we decided to tell you how we experienced it as well.
Hi guys.
Hi, so...
Or we should say, hi YouTubers.
YouTubers, yeah. You tried.
You tried.
So we just want to talk you through this whole quarantine experience. Coming into South Africa, arriving. We're going to do separate videos about other things, but the big issue here is a lot of people are freaked out about quarantine, about what happens. Even we were completely misinformed or uninformed. I had no idea, because I heard things like people got whisked away from the airport under police escort, and there are horror stories about food and, you know, the conditions under which people are kept. So I just wanted to cover our story about how it happened and what our experience was. So the flight itself was surprisingly comfortable, right?
Yeah.
We sat in our seats. Nobody actually wore their masks and their shields permanently. You issued with a shield for the purpose of boarding and getting off the aircraft. Some people sit with their shields on. The moment you're going to eat, you're going to take it off anyway.
Even sleeping, you have to take a shield off to sleep.
Yeah.
And what's nice is with the plane that we were going up to Doha, it was quiet, so we actually had our own seats. We could actually lie down.
We had complete three seats each, and we could lie down and watch. So when you lie down watching movies, there's no place for the shield. So the shield goes. I wore my mask. Only some of the people walk around without their masks. So it's kind of surprising that during this major pandemic that there's so little effort. Nobody really, there was no trouble with people not wearing masks. Nobody freaked out.
Not at all.
So it was kind of cool. I put it on, whenever I'm not eating, etc., kind of most of the time, but it wasn't really serious. But anyway.
We made sure we had a lot of drinks so we didn't have to wear it.
Yeah, you just get a drink, you have a drink, you have something to eat, the sweets, the chocolates, and then of course you drink slowly. But I must admit, arriving at the airport in Johannesburg, there were couple of things that was interesting. The first thing that I found most interesting is there's no actual security check.
No.
So they take everybody coming off the plane, you go to customs, you go through customs normally, they do a temperature check. When the temperature check is done, you go through customs, they stamp your passport, and then you go through, kind of walk down the passage. So it's fairly quiet because there's not a lot happening. And then you arrive in this kind of reception area where I would say that's probably what most people are most uncertain about, and what in my opinion, would be the most disturbing. Because there's no clear indication of what you are supposed to do, where you are supposed to do. Kind of these people with tables set up in the middle of nowhere.
Well, it's as you come out from the luggage, you get your luggage, and as you're walking out, where you normally would go into the terminals to leave, that's where they actually got their tables.
Yeah.
That's where they block you.
So what's kind of interesting is you get treated a lot like cattle there. So I think, in my opinion, people are coming from internationally, people have heard horror stories. We did not commit any crimes. Nobody's at the airport because they did something wrong. Most people got trapped for a long time. They haven't seen their families. There are people with children. There was a lady right in front of me, a doctor who had a mother with her in a wheelchair. So it's not very clear. Like, there's nobody that says, welcome back to South Africa. What is going to happen is you're going to go to that table and this is what they're going to do. There's no effort. You kind of figure it out yourself. You kind of fall into line and figure it out. Yeah. Also, you went to the bathroom, so...
Yeah, I went to the bathroom as well. He was getting the luggage, the case, because the belt was working and it wasn't working, it was working and it wasn't working. So I went to the bathroom quickly. And no toilet paper, no sanitizer, no soap, the bathrooms are dirty, and that's on as you get off the plane.
So we are so worried about viruses and contamination. You've got shields and whatnot, and you go to the bathroom and there's no way to clean your hands, nowhere to clean your hands, there's no toilet paper or nothing. So that was a bit disgusting. And then also, they kind of deal with you not the way you would deal with people that are being received. It's like the people who receive you for the purpose of this quarantine thing, they have no regard for you and your problem. So something very important though. In order for you to come into the country, you have the option to apply for self-quarantine. It's a form you fill in and you've got to give your itinerary for the last 30 days. You've got to justify it. You've got to say where you'll be, who'll be there, what car you'll be driving and everything.
You have to do car rentals. If you don't have a car, you must give proof of car rentals.
Yeah, so that's what happened with us. Because we were arriving in Johannesburg, we were originally going to go to Cape Town. I said, look, I'm going to rent a car. And then they said, but we want proof of the car rental. So I had to actually pay for and rent a car so that we could prove that we have car rental. Now, they also say you must apply 72 hours before you land. We land on August 28th. I applied on the 20th for the first time. And I kept updating as information changed regarding our landing time, etc. And then what was interesting, you arrive at the airport. Now, instead of them saying, so, good evening, welcome back. Unfortunately, what we have is, we have a list. We have no access to anything. If a name doesn't appear on the list, unfortunately, you'll have to go to quarantine. But don't worry, you're going to this place. This is what it's like. They go, you are not on the list. You go to quarantine. You go to quarantine. Now, they make it sound like some kind of punishment. Yeah. Like, ooh, you weren't approved. Therefore, your punishment is you'll have to go to this facility. And it really feels like you're being led to the gulag, you know.
Other people had tests done before they even landed,
their
which
tests
was
were irrelevant.
negative tests, irrelevant.
And then what's interesting is they don't tell you what to do. They don't say we've demarcated an area. But wait, they go there. Then you stand there and then a policeman comes along, come. Then you walk with this guy and you come. And then they say, whoa, where are you going? I said, well, I'm following this guy. Then they say, no, not you. I said, but he said, come. He pointed to me. No, stand there. I said, well, you're not there. So they really treat you like shit, to be honest.
Yeah.
So there were people, I mean, Jackie was immediately upset because she's thinking, what about Muscat? What about the dog? All this, and where are we going? What does we? And they do make you feel that way. And I, as a guy, I see it differently. I filmed and I questioned them and I said, but, you know, basically, no, and then we go. Then they lead you off without any, I mean, the police officer is not even telling you what's happening. They just walk, come with me, now you follow him. Out we go outside into the open air, and there's a bunch of buses and they pile you into the buses. Come to this bus, come to this bus. They don't say, where are you going? They say, what's going on? Of course, again, I got out of the vehicle and I actually decided, screw you. I mean, at the end of the day, we can all be in the bus anyway. So I walked up to one of the drivers and said, where are we going? What's happening now? Hello. Sorry, I just want to find out what's happening.
We are waiting for the police to come with us. All the buses are loaded. The police are coming. I think this one.
Okay, where are we going?
Kopanong Hotel.
And true enough, there we go with our 12 taxis, 22-seater taxis with no seat belts, by the way.
No.
And one without a headlight working, so that one don't want the virus killing anybody, but they don't mind breaking the law with their vehicles.
They block off roads.
Yeah, and then off we come and we arrive at the facility. Arriving at the facility, you sit in your bus and they kind of do one at a time.
We landed about 6 o'clock. We arrived here about 8.
8, and we were outside in the cold till almost 10 o'clock.
10
because
o'clock.
Now you arrive from a warm location. You get here, you expect you're going to go to quarantine, that's fine, but you don't expect you're going to stand outside. So they make us stand outside in the cold for about an hour because you queue up and everybody's waiting. Now,
why? One vehicle at a time. So they got 7 people per. I think they got 7
on average.
On
because
average.
we were 7, 9. We were 9.
We were 9.
So it's about 10 per
So
vehicle.
they first do one vehicle at a time and they book those people in. Then the next vehicle will come and the next book in.
Yeah, so you arrive at this reception desk, there's this lady, and then they go, hey, good evening, and you go, yeah, no, can I, no, it was really interesting, just before I get to that is, the minute they said, are you a couple? We said, yes. He said, oh, I need a what?
Presidential.
No, I need a what unit? A double unit. I need a double unit. But you've got the presidential suites, like whatever. Then she can I have your passport, please? So I assume she's going to take it, she's going to write some data down. Of course, she takes my passport and she pops it in the bag. So I said, are you keeping my passport? She said, yes. I said, why?
No, she didn't pop it in the bag. She just took the passport and she threw it in one of the brown bags with all the other people.
Yeah, it is a bag.
Yeah.
She put it in a bag. Okay, a bag with other people's, so whatever.
Yeah.
And then I go, but where do I get it back? And she said, no, it's just, I said, what are you taking it for? So she explains, now, well, on the day when you're supposed to leave, there's all this paperwork and it's easier to fill in, so we don't have to take time. So they fill it in. I said, when do I get it back? No, you can get it tomorrow morning. So then we stood around. Eventually security came with some little trailers and a little tractor. We put our suitcases on and they brought us to the place. So as far as the quarantine is concerned, I must admit, people have freaked out a lot. But firstly, the place we're in is actually stunning. It's lovely. I cannot complain about the place we are in. I mean, we are living in a double-story cottage. It's literally like a house.
Fancy house.
It's fancy, you know, so it's got a television in every room, it's got 2 bedrooms and everything. So I can't complain about the
3
facility.
bathrooms.
3, yeah.
3 full bathrooms, actually.
Yeah,
2
so-
lounges.
Yeah, 2
little
lounges, a
kitchen.
dining room area, kitchen. So it's lovely. You're allowed during quarantine, you're allowed to be in your place, you're allowed to go outside on the grass, to sit outside in the sun a bit. You're not allowed to interact with anybody else, and you're obviously not allowed to leave.
But you can talk to them, you can shout,
Yeah, you can
across
shout at your neighbours.
at the neighbours.
So then, also, as far as food is concerned, there have been some people that said, "Oh, we only get 500 mils of water a day." We're getting 3 square meals a day, and it's actually
You get juice, you get cool drinks, you get water.
yeah, you get water, and it's so far in excess of what even I eat that most meals I don't finish everything. It's a little bit of a sad waste.
And it's prepared, chef
It's
prepared.
chef prepared. I mean, proper grilled chicken. I mean, the quality of the food we are getting, I honestly cannot complain about. But again, I think it's probably a bit much. But then again, other people eat more than I do. So we were told that within 5 days you'll be tested. If your test is negative, you can be released. You are allowed to get your own test done if you want, but that takes 2 days or whatever. And it turns out that we have to stay here for 10 days. After the 10 days, you basically just leave. We'll have to be out on Monday, coming Monday. By 10 a.m. you must be out here. So basically, it's like a short holiday. We have internet, Wi-Fi access, so we're able to communicate with everybody. That's not a problem.
We got delivery.
We got delivery, so
if you want to order anything from Spa,
yeah, you've got a WhatsApp number they
pharmacy.
give you. You put everything you want on a WhatsApp, and the Spa comes along and they deliver. We wanted some cough mixture for Muscat, so we phoned this skim delivers. They come here. They don't allow visitors and people and friends. Like when Riet brought Muscat back to us, they stopped them at the gate and they took the cage from them, the crate from them, and the security guards drove her here with a little tractor and carried her into the house. So they won't allow anybody else to interact with you. Every day you get your temperature taken.
Yeah.
So the first 2 days.
They skipped 1 day with us.
Yeah, the first 2 days they came like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. One day they just completely skipped and never came. It is what it is. And then from yesterday they came in the morning. They're very friendly, very accommodating. You know, you can never say that here you've been treated badly. They're friendly, they're accommodating. The place is fantastic.
The staff is friendly.
The staff is very accommodating. They take your temperature and they leave. So I can't say that our experience with quarantine has been terrible. Yes, the airport, as far as I'm concerned, and I'll stick with it,
was the worst.
the government employees, I would go as far as to say it's almost like they get a little bit of personal satisfaction out of ordering people around. It must be so fun to be on your pedestal of power and to just, order people here, order people there. But the fact is, I'm not a suspect in a crime. I'm not trying to escape from anything. I'm submitting to the process. I agree to it. And I don't see why you cannot just be treated normally. For some people, I mean, this lady who had the elderly lady with her in a wheelchair, their self-quarantine wasn't approved. I don't know what happened to them because we separated ways, we walked. But it's just disgusting to me. An elderly person arrives on their own. A young person arrives on their own. Or whatever the case, for anybody that's scared of the process arrives on their own, they're going to feel like their life is being. No wonder people are stressed in quarantine.
One woman, her self-quarantine, when she was on the bus, her self-quarantine approval came through, and they turned around and said, "No, you're already being booked in. You can't have self-quarantine."
So she had approval to self-quarantine. She arrived on the bus, and as Jackie said, she was sitting on the bus when she got the documents. By the time she arrived, she said, "Sorry, you're here. You're in jail now." Come on. As far as I'm concerned, that's just totally, it's ridiculous. I mean, I heard that some people tried to escape and whatnot, but you know what, if you're going to try to escape...
2 people left.
Whatever.
Well, we know of 2 people that
whatever,
left.
but you're not in custody. You're in quarantine. It's a medical effort. It's not incarceration. You're not charged with anything. You're not a suspect in anything. You're not bound by the laws of incarceration. If you try to leave, you're not escaping from custody. You're simply choosing not to comply with quarantine, and you can face the consequences. So to me,
I don't know if I want to leave.
Why would you want to leave? I mean, the place is beautiful. Muscat is having fun. We're having great food.
I don't have to cook.
We don't have to pay for anything. So why would I be unhappy with the quarantine? So my message to other South Africans arriving: don't be intimidated by the arseholes at the airport.
No.
Don't let them scare you. I can't speak for other quarantine facilities. I know some people ended up in facilities they were unhappy with. But really, as far as at least this
We've got
facility
about
is
200 people.
Yep.
There's about 200 units here.
yeah, there are probably about two, because on our what do you call it, our
Our
little
flight.
convoy, we were 161 people that flew in, and
Yes.
I think more than 100 came in, and more people arrived 2 days before us.
Yeah.
So we arrived on 28 August, and people arrived on 26.
26.
So I'd say there's probably around 200 or more people here that are under quarantine. But
Yeah.
it's peaceful, it's comfortable. The beds are fantastic. I mean, you've got TV, you've got the Mnet, you've got the ESTV, you've got internet, you've got water. You can ask for things, you know. We are lucky. We've got a wash machine and a tumble dryer.
Yeah.
So at least we're able to wash our own clothes.
Yeah.
There is a catch though. If there's only one day that they'll do laundry, and on that day there's only a certain amount of items, like 3 shirts, 3 pants, whatever.
Yeah.
So if you want to wash more, they'll charge you. But if you're a couple or a family, you end up in the so-called presidential suite, you have a washing machine and a tumble dryer. So that all helps. So I don't think the quarantine experience was as bad as some people experience, or as bad as some people tried to make it out. I think it was rather pleasant.
It was pleasant. We
I'm
sit in on
enjoying
day
it.
6.
Day 6, it doesn't feel like it. Feels like we went on holiday. I mean, if you go to the Karoo National Park and you stay in a cottage there, the only difference is that you can leave with a car if you want, where here you can't. But I don't really feel it. Okay, so the car issue got sorted out.
My woolies.
Oh, so Jackie,
Just going to my
yeah, but
Woolies.
she's a diva. She misses everything.
Yeah.
She misses a fancy coffee. She misses a Walmart. She misses a, you know what?
Coffee is important.
I was in the army. If I get food this good in the army and coffee, I take any coffee, cold
I don't
coffee.
do pap.
She doesn't. Well, I don't do pap either. We did get pap on 2 occasions. I just don't eat it. But I think it was good.
It was good.
And we're not done yet. We'll be out on Monday, but we probably could have waited and done like a whole thing. But as far as I'm concerned, this is what it is. I wouldn't advise anybody to panic. Of course, if you arrive at a bad facility with something to complain about, complain. But despite all the hoo-ha at the airport and the things,
I think they've learned quite a bit
from previous one.
from the beginning.
Yeah.
I think they started learning.
And here's a bit of advice. Knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have bothered to apply for self-quarantine. I'd have said, thank you, I'll arrive, I'll have a little holiday for 10 days, and when I'm done, I'll go out. If you're alone and you don't have somebody to fight with, maybe it's worse.
Yeah.
If you're inclined to get depressed and to get lonely, maybe it's not so much fun. So I can't speak on behalf of other people again, but for me personally, as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't have bothered with the paperwork. I wouldn't bother to stress about renting a car until I'm done here.
No.
As far as I'm concerned, I would have just said, all right, that's it. One thing I must also add is when I arrived, I asked them, so what happens when this is over? You kidnapped me from the airport. I had a rental car arranged that I was going to pick up, so now I'm taken away from my rental car and brought here. What happens when we're done? Well, they said, it's kind of, then you're done. I said, are you telling me that you're going to push me out the gate and I'm going to stand on the side of the street, and from there it's my concern? And they also just keep in mind that this thing about taking passports, they're not allowed to confiscate your passport. That is actually against the law. I actually had a legal professional phone in and I challenged them. I threatened them a little bit and I was a bit unfriendly, and then I got my passports back. And after that, we are being looked after very well. But everybody didn't get their passports back.
Muscat is called John Wick's dog.
Yeah, so they call Muscat to the security, because after I shouted them, and at a stage to make the problem bigger, when I spoke to the manager on the phone, I said, where's my dog? And he said, what do you mean your dog? I said, well, we flew in with the dog. It's sitting at customs and I'm sitting here. I was supposed to make arrangements and now I don't. Oh, no, they don't know. And eventually, Muscat arrived, so the people came past and said to Jackie, knows this dog. And she knows this is John Wick's dog. So that was kind of funny. So I threatened him a lot. And anyway, so we've got our
Don't
passports.
mess with the dog.
Don't mess with John Wick's dog. So now you might call me Stan Wick. I'm actually going to make my hair like that. I'm going to,
Oh no.
yeah. So yeah, that's our advice, or whatever our experience. If you can handle 10 days on your own or in quarantine, and you can end up in a fairly good facility. I don't know what all the facilities
I'll put it
are.
this way. Also in the facilities, one thing they supply you the basics. It's like a hotel. They supply you the basics. So they don't clean your place every day.
Yeah, because of quarantine, they
Because
can't
of
obviously
quarantine.
risk it, so they don't.
So
clean
you have to
at all.
clean it yourself.
Yes.
So when you order your first lot of groceries and that, from the swab.
handy
Handy dishwasher, sponges.
They've got soap, they've got shampoo and stuff.
Yeah,
you can
they've got
obviously
that.
you can ask for more, but they don't come into the rooms to make
No.
it up. They do have one laundry cycle for your linen,
Yes.
for the bedding.
Like today is laundry cycle, so you basically take the sheets off, put it in a plastic bag, put it at your front door. In the evenings, what they do is morning, afternoon, and evenings. What they do is they knock on your door for breakfast. They hand you
Two brown bags with your
bags
foodie.
with your foodie. Lunchtime the same thing, supper time the same thing. When you're done, all you do is you just put your brown bags outside and they collect it and take it away.
So that's that. I'm literally, I don't, at this stage, and for me, I don't think that going into quarantine is an issue.
No.
And anybody that still has to come into quarantine, I don't see any reason why you should be particularly concerned. It is 10 more days, but it's only 10 days and it's not under the worst conditions. If anybody has a worse experience, obviously they are willing to put some comments below and to explain theirs, or even people before us, but to us, I don't see any reason to freak out about it. Again, be warned, the people at the airport are a little bit rude and they're very cold. And
The customs are very friendly.
customs people are friendly.
Customs are very friendly. As soon as you go past customs,
The
get
health
your luggage,
Department of Health people, man.
department.
As far as I'm concerned, the Department of Health dropped the ball on this. Not on the protocol side, but they put us in quarantine, but just the way they treat you. I think it's unnecessary. It doesn't add anything to the quarantine experience. It's not like there's any protocol that says if you're friendly to a person, the virus spreads better or something. So it's not like, it won't take a lot away from them. It won't cost them anything. It won't harm them in any way to just try and treat people with a little bit. Fines. The Constitution gives me the right to dignity, and you feel indignified the way they treat you. You feel like you've done something wrong and you're about to be imprisoned. That's the best way I can describe it. But knowing what I know now, if I had to go through it again tomorrow, I would go like, whatever. They're just enjoying the power. Let them have it. So other than that, that's us.
So, subscribe.
Yep.
Thumbs up if you like
You
the
can
video.
click on the little bell if you want to get
Bell.
notifications for
Because we
more.
want to do another video of our situation, how
Our experience.
our experience, what we went through
Yeah.
to
So we
get the flight.
Yeah, so we didn't simply book a flight and come back. There were a lot of issues, and we're going to do a video on that. We're going to do a video on the issues we had going into America and how it happened that we went there 2 years ago and ended up coming back now, and what it means for us going forward. So we're going to do a video about that, and then also about our experience returning.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot to share. You can look out for the first video saying coming to America, which is the first one we're going to do, and then the other one is going to be American Dream, American Nightmare. Because not everything was sunshine and roses, but at the same time, I must admit that as I'm sitting here, I'm optimistic, I'm happy to be back, and I'm committed to what we're about to do next.
Yep.
Thanks. Have a
Bye.
nice day. Thanks for your time. Cheers. Bye.